Welcome, 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 everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Rosalind Willis, better known as Coach Roz, the Birthing Purpose Coach. I remind everyone that I can that as long as you have a pulse, you have a purpose. Now, we're going to talk to you a little bit today about International Internship University, IIU. It brings to you a talk show to inspire successful living, to give wings to your dreams. IIU is a leading virtual education system and global brand confederation, which is the most valuable and trusted worldwide and well reputed in delivering innovative programs globally. It is a trusted name for quality training programs and is committed to providing better in virtual education to all the young learners of the globe. In a short span of time, IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries and 6 continents under the strong leadership of its visionary founder, Sir Mr. Piyush Pandit, a committed and inspired social activist, a passionate educationist from the last 2 decades, providing education to students from various social and cultural backgrounds. Now, I want to pause and say to all my sisters that are out there, happy Women in History Month, okay? Today, I want to welcome my guest to the show, an amazing leader, Dr. Carolyn Stephens. Let me tell you guys a little bit about Dr. Stephens. She is amazing, number one. Dr. Carolyn Stephens was raised in New York City. She relocated to Atlanta, Georgia to pursue a career in fashion design and merchandising. However, after working with children in the underserved population, she transitioned her educational pursuits to work in the mental health field. Dr. Carolyn now serves as a clinical family therapist, family support specialist, and vision consultant. She currently holds a master's degree in psychology and 2 doctorate degrees in divinity and theology. She uses her education and experience to promote cultural diversity with the focus on empowering and developing African American women. Currently, she serves as Chief Executive Officer for the BHC Television on Demand Media Network. Dr. Carolyn is a well sought after public speaker and best-selling author of the I Am a Black Woman and I Am the Black Man book series, which can be purchased on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart outlets. Welcome, 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 Dr. Carolyn
Thank
Stephens
you. Thank
to
you
the
so much.
stage. I am so honored that you're able to be with us on today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rosalind. This is certainly an honor and a privilege to be here with you. You are a powerhouse and an amazing woman in your own right. So thank you so much for that, Queen. I am honored to be here.
Glory to God. Thank you so much. I tell you guys out there listening all over the globe, this woman right here, a servant's heart, just a woman of love that pushes women forward. I'm telling you, from day one, I think it's just been from the time we've met, it's just been like, it's just been a connection. And I'm very grateful to God for that connection. And so I wanted to make sure and bring you on this platform because I know that you have so many things that you're able to share with our audience. So please tell us, who is Dr. Carolyn Stephens?
Well, thank you so much for that question. So Dr. Carolyn Stephens is first and foremost introduce myself without making that the focal point, because God himself that supercharges me to be able to do and accomplish all of the things that I have accomplished. I'm also the proud mother of 3 beautiful grown children, David, Dana, and Diana. In addition to that, I am a survivor of many of the challenges that many women go through. So I like to always add that to when I introduce myself, that I am a survivor. Uh, in addition to that, I practice family therapy here in Atlanta, Georgia. I am also a certified family support specialist, and I still work in the community as well as provide private practice for mainly women. 98% of my clients are women. As you mentioned a little bit earlier, I am an author, a best-selling author. I am a publishing consultant, and also I have, and I'll put a little plug in that you all need to go up on the BAC network to see none other than Dr. Roz up there on the network. And so I am the CEO of the BAC Media Network. We are a streaming platform that streams content all over the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that is, that's basically who Dr. Carolyn is. I mean, a little bit more than that, but definitely that's a start anyway.
Yes, yes, and you're doing some remarkable things all over the world. Tell us, what is your definition of successful living?
I was so glad when you sent out the questionnaire, and I saw that as a question. And the reason why that was served as a very profound question for me, because the world defines success as one thing. And then as individuals, when you ask an individual that question, you'll have a myriad of answers in terms of what success is. But what success is to me is not based upon the amount of money that you are making. I think that, and many people look at success in terms of the amount of money that they're making, what their income looks like, what their net worth is. I think that those things are the benefits to moving in what real success looks like. And so I think that success is when, one, what you were born to do, and you get to do that every single day. Yes. That is success in my book. And it's when I am touching the lives of people and they come back and they can say, this has happened or that has happened as a result of either being a part of the network, being a part of what I'm doing with women therapeutically, what have you. That is probably the most exhilarating part of being successful, is when you see that lives are changing as a result of doing what you feel most passionate about. That's how I would define success.
That's awesome. And that's a clear picture of success, that, that person, that life is changed because of something you said or done. And then they come back and they share with you, this happened. I know when I do my teas and the ladies come back, that, you do what God told you to do, and you empower them. And then later years come back and they say, I was at your tea, and when I came to your tea, I was on drugs. I had this going on, and ever since your tea, I have never been the same. I've been clean, and I have my children back, and it's just like, to me, that's success. You know what I'm saying? That's a level of, because we want to be able to, like you said, change the world one person at a time. Who are we impacting in our lives?
And I have to say this now, since we're here. I have been a speaker at one of your teas, Dr. Rosalind.
Yes,
I have to tell you, it was the most exhilarating, the most profound event that I have ever had the pleasure of attending. The energy, I'm going to say this to all of you. The next one she has, you must be there. It was life-changing for me. It was encouraging for me, just the energy that is present at those teas. And you just always have just the right people. And there is such a camaraderie that we rarely see, especially among women. And so all of that was there. And that was, I always mark and say, in terms of my best events that I've been a part of or have attended, that definitely is one for me.
Glory to God. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much. God is, he's amazing.
He is.
So tell us, what is your passion? What is your passion?
Oh, what is my passion? I'm passionate about many things, but for sake of time, I am next to help their vision unfold, to be the person that God has called them to be. I'm very passionate about that. I'm passionate about hearing people's stories. I absolutely love to hear people's stories. If you know, someone asked me in another interview if I had like the perfect job, it would be, Dr. Rosalind, to travel all over the world and just sit with people and hear their stories and interview them. I mean, that would probably be my number one job that I would have. But I'm just passionate about life. I'm passionate about seeing women heal, seeing men heal. I live my life every day, and this is something I'm gonna want to share with everyone that's watching. This is something that I do every day, and I live an intentional life. To be successful, you must live with a level of intentionality, not just to do things here and there, but to be intentional about doing something. And here is one of my intentional things that I say to myself every day. Every day, I want to encourage at least one person every day. Every day. I'm very intentional about that I can say I have encouraged someone today. And so I do that very intentionally. I'll make a call. I will send a text. I will just ask people, that's one of my favorite, how are you doing today? How are you feeling today? Whether I'm doing that through the network and I'm pushing content creators, but I'm most passionate about life and ensuring that I am a part of God's greater plan for all of us to live quality lives. I want to be a change agent in God's divine plan to ensure that all human beings live a life of quality.
Yes, that is, you know, you show your passion when you speak. You know, when you talk about anything that's, you know, you talk about, it's like the passion comes out of it, and you can feel it. You can feel your passion. If you could go back and take a trip back in time and give a message to your 10-year-old self, what would that message be?
I'm at the tender age of 59 years young, to take a journey back in my life for 49 years ago. I would tell my 10-year-old self, I would affirm her in believing in herself. I mean, that is the primary message that I would tell that 10-year-old Carolyn. I would tell you very transparently, Dr. Roz, that I, you know, as a preteen and going into adulthood, I really did not have a sense of who I was. I did not really know how great I was, how great my mind was. And unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of people at that time of my life who were pouring into me to tell me how great and how wonderful. I'll tell you something really funny here, Dr. Rosalind. And this is why I always love interviewing with you, because you set an environment where people can be really transparent.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I was probably 35 or 40 before I realized that I was pretty. You know, and really I'm maybe about 40 something, and I just happened to, I have a very dear friend of mine who's a therapist as well, and she would always send me pictures of myself. And I, for the longest, couldn't understand why Dr. Paula would always send pictures of myself. She did this constantly and for years. And finally, one day when I had a conversation with her, I said, Paula, why are you always sending me pictures of? She said, because I need for you to see how beautiful and how bright you are. I really did not know that I'm a pretty cool looking chick. Okay. It was 40 something before I realized that, hey, I look pretty cool. And so I would definitely tell 10-year-old Carolyn to believe in herself, to recognize the gifts that I had even at 10. I was speaking to people. I would get groups of kids outside and I'd be speaking to them, not realizing that I would eventually grow up and that would be a field that I would be in, is public speaking. But I never had people that really, poured into me in that way. And so it's very important for parents to speak life into your children. It's important for mothers to speak life into your daughters. It is important for us as leaders to speak life into people, to affirm them, to let them know that their gifts are needed.
Can you hear me?
I can now.
Okay.
I can now. Yeah.
Yes, that is so important, is letting them know. I say this all the time. One of the biggest problems we have with our generation, with our children, is so many of them have gifts that has never been unwrapped.
Oh yeah.
So many are walking around with gifts and they don't know who they are. They have identity crisis. There's so many things out in the world that is trying to define them and give them a definition of who they are. And so it is our job as parents, it's our job as educators, it's our jobs as ministers to give them the right mirror to look into so that they can understand who they are and embrace who they really truly are, the true selves. So yes, I love that. That's one of my favorite questions. When God asked me that question, I was like, wow, and I always keep this question for any time I'm doing interviews, because it's one of those things that make you stop and go, wait a minute, let me think about where I was at 10 years old,
Exactly.
And what happened in my life at 10 years old. And I know for myself, I was going through molestation at 10 years old. And so I had to go back and tell my 10-year-old self, it's not your fault. And no matter what anybody does to you, it's not your fault. Stay true to you and tell somebody. Don't go on mute. Have a voice, and so that's why. And anybody out listening now, any young woman or man that for years you've been locked and not able to talk about what you've been through, you may need to have a conversation with your 10-year-old self. You may need to go back there and have a conversation with your 10-year-old self so you can unlock some of the things that's locked you up.
That is so
in
true.
Your life.
That's so true. Yeah. Dr. Ross, as a mental health professional, when working with adults, and this is particularly true of women, they may be 39, 49, 59, but the problems that they are currently having mentally, emotionally, spiritually, is because that 10-year-old girl, that 10-year-old boy needs to Still,
Yeah.
it's still bruised. It's still
Yeah.
wounded. It's still untapped. And so many of us as adults, because, especially I work in the area of childhood trauma, and, many of us as adults are not as successful as we could be, because we need to go back, as you said, and heal that little boy and heal
Yes.
that little girl, and not go past that. Because in terms of human development, there are things that we must have as a child. And so if we go past that, or if that area of your life has been abused or bruised or wounded, you can still very much go on to be an adult. But there are certain successes in life that you will not be able to properly enjoy until the whole person is healed. And a part of that whole person is that little girl in you, that little boy in you that may have been molested, may have been abused, or beaten, or what have you. And here's the thing: everybody around you, okay, for somebody who's listening, you need to know this. Everybody around you, whether that's business colleagues, clients, customers, friends, everybody around you can see the elephant in the room.
That's right.
Everybody can say, I see the elephant in the room. There must be something wrong with this lady. I mean, she's great. She's wonderful. She can articulate, but she can be mean. She can be mean. Her delivery sounds overly aggressive. She's not really a people person, but everybody can see the elephant in the room. Not everybody will address the elephant in the room, but they see that there's something happening with you that's affecting your personality, your delivery, the way you do business, and those kinds of things. And most of the time, Dr. Roz, that comes from not healing the little child in you. Yes. And so I would like to leave that, because that's an awesome question you pose, an awesome point. Take the time to allow God to heal the little girl and the little boy in you, so that you can live your whole life the way that God intended for you to live.
Yes. And I know even when I'm doing ministering and ministry counseling, I have went into situations where you may have a young lady that may be in her 60s, and she has a repeating cycle in her life, and she's trying to figure out why this cycle keeps coming back around, And when you start pulling back those onion layers, pulling back the layers, you find out that she was traumatized in her youth and she never dealt with it. She grew in her body, right? In her physical. Her mental was still at that place. Her mental mind was still stuck at that place. And so once we travel back there to heal from that place, then she could catch up with every other part of what she had been dragging along, this child, right? That was so abused. And even when she got a good relationship, she self-sabotaged it, because the little girl in her still needed to be justified, still needed to be heard. So, and this is what we see when it comes to mental illness. There's so many people walking around with, multiple personalities. And I know in the Black community, we were taught, oh, that's just such and such. Oh, she crazy. Oh, that's that's the way we came up. We didn't talk about mental health in the Black community like that. And if a person, they did too much talking about mental health and did too many acting out, well, they just was put in the institution.
Exactly.
But we didn't really talk about it, like that. And as
we didn't talk about it at all. We didn't talk about it at all.
Exactly. We just labeled them. We labeled those family members. Oh, that's such and such. That's Pook. He crazy.
Exactly.
Exactly. That was what it was. And so as a mental health professional, I want to ask you, are you seeing more cases post-COVID?
Yes, I am. Actually, and unfortunately so, for most therapists, our caseloads have doubled and tripled. There actually isn't enough therapists to go around. Because when I am asked the question about, sometimes people will say, well, did COVID, bring about a lot of the mental health issues that we are seeing and dealing with now? My answer is no. I don't believe that COVID it brought that out. I believe that going through the pandemic, which was a social and worldwide crisis, what it did was the effects of COVID and the trauma that we experienced as a nation, it exasperated what was already in us. That is what happened. Many of us, I think, professional people, because most of us we are on the go constantly. We're working, we're producing. Well, guess what? COVID helped to slow that down for many of us, didn't it? And COVID gave us an opportunity to have to not be in the office and now be at home, a place that a lot of us did not spend a lot of time in. And so, and you got a chance to, we were all forced, Dr. Rosalind, to do some deep introspection about the quality of our life. And so with that in mind, many of us had a chance to just think about our life, think about the quality of our life. Many of us experience high levels of loneliness, anxiety, fear as a result of the COVID pandemic. We didn't have a great amount of social interaction. So there were many family members, friends, professional colleagues that we no longer could see in person, embrace in person. And so that brought about a lot of social anxiety. I had a lot of clients, young and old, who were experiencing social anxiety. It just took a lot of, even coming on a platform like this, for many people, it was very stressful to not be able to have a conference or be in the same room with the person. And now you have to really be able to master a Zoom or a StreamYard. I mean, so the pandemic, it really, the issues that were already there and underlying already, it just exacerbated those issues because now, and I thank God for it. I was one of the people that saw the pandemic in a positive way, though there were negative things happening. But now, as a result of the pandemic, being quarantined and all kinds of things, we got a chance to take a real look at ourselves. That is, and as a result of taking a real look at yourself and the quality of your life, and losing people, it did do something to us mentally. All crises will do that, but it did something to us mentally. I want to speak, in terms of, there are many Christian people that I provide therapy for, including pastors. And, mentally, it was really a rough ride for many that they could go into every Sunday. You see, they no longer had that. The many of the crutches that we depended on as a faith-based community were no longer there. And so now maybe you had to learn how to have church in your house. But guess what? That's what we should have been doing anyway. We should have been doing that anyway.
That's right.
So yeah, there were many results of the COVID pandemic that we experienced in a mental health way, and I feel that many of us are better for it. We've learned how to appreciate life. I know for me, that is definitely what happened to me. I developed a greater appreciation of life. I mean, because every week you're hearing about somebody's life that is gone. And it
Exactly.
caused me to really practice more mindfulness and not taking for granted seeing the sun come up, being able to hear your heart beat. Uh,
Mhm.
those are the things that I think that we should have learned to appreciate as a result of the pandemic, appreciating each other more, embracing each other more, knowing that life, and I know it's a typical thing we say, but life really is short. It,
It
it
really
really is
is.
short.
It really is a vapor.
Yeah, it's a vapor,
Yeah,
it's so like we're here today and I'm talking to you today, having a wonderful time. This may not be tomorrow.
that's
See,
true.
this could change overnight.
True.
So I am intentional about
Yes.
a couple of things. One is anybody that I interact with, I want to give them a good experience. I
Yes.
want them, it's my last time seeing you. I want you to be able to say, the last time I sat with Dr. Carolyn, she gave me a great experience. And so I'm
Exactly.
intentional about giving people, especially as a businesswoman, I want to give
Yeah.
clients a good experience. I want to give people a good experience. That is most important. And what is life about? It's about creating experiences for people. Okay,
That's right.
especially in the professional world or as teachers, it's about creating an excellent experience for students and what have you. And
Hmm.
so we've got to be intentional about that. What is it that I can say today? What is it that I can do today to create an excellent and profound experience for the people who I'm touching today? Mhm.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about. What can we do to touch those people and do it in a positive way?
Oh yeah.
Tell us what is your book series, I Am a Black Man or I Am a Black Woman. Tell us what that's about.
Oh, so I'll give you the really, really short version about that book series. Um, I had never published. I had a thought in my head because when I work with clients, a part of their post-session homework is to journal. I am a big fan of journaling, writing
Hmm.
down your thoughts, and that is so big. I advise everybody to journal.
Yes.
And so I knew that writing was therapeutic. And I just had a thought, Dr. Waz. I said to myself, okay, well, I'd like to put a book together and bring women of color together because I was familiar with many of the social disparities within the Black community. And so I wanted to start there first. And I
Right.
said, well, I'd like to bring some women together who could share their stories. But I also wanted to create an environment for women where they could feel safe to share their
Yes.
pain, because I believe that pain is universal.
So
Even
true.
many of the people that are watching us now uh, from different parts of the world, the one thing that we all have in common is pain. Pain has no color.
That's so true.
It has no social economic preference. Pain is just pain. And so
Mhm.
I didn't know what I was doing. I had it as a thought. And then that particular year, when I was thinking about the book, there several things happened in my life. The first thing is I lost my very best friend in the whole wide world, which was my dad.
Wow.
And then I lost a relationship. I lost lots of money. I lost cars. I mean, I had a series of things that was happening to me in my personal life. So I was thinking, well, I'm certainly not going to think about a book right now.
Mhm.
And one night I was in the shower and I was crying profusely. I knew people, Dr. Roslin, but I couldn't think of one person, one woman that I could go to and either ask for help or share where I was. I just couldn't think of anybody. And when I
Wow.
was in the shower crying for about an hour and all the tears dried up, and I sat on the edge of the bed and I knew I was having some kind of an experience. And I said, God, what was that? And God spoke to me. He said, you know how you just felt despair, the anxiety, the loneliness, the pain? Right now, there are millions of women having that same experience right now.
Wow.
And I knew that I had a mandate from God to put the
Mhm.
book together. And it all came
Yeah.
together. I got 13 women from all across the country, women that I did not know. When I asked them about it, they said yes, they said yes, they said yes. It just came together. And I met my publisher by divine intervention. I mean, everything was just God. Here's what I want to stop and say something at this point that's very important for those of us that are listening. The day that you say yes to God is
Mhm.
when something in you will be birthed.
Come on.
And there are a lot of us right now that are carrying babies in our womb
Yes.
that are either dying and they can't be birthed for one reason and one reason only. It's not because you don't have the resources. It's not because you don't have the money. It's not because you don't know how. It's because you haven't said yes to God.
That's
The
it.
day that you say yes to God, he starts putting all the pieces together. He starts
Yes.
giving you. God will never give you a dream or a vision and not provide. That's not God. And so if you want to start a new business, if you're trying to open a school, if you're trying to start something, it just requires a yes from God. So I
That's it.
needed to say that. But when I said yes to God, Dr. Rosalind, all these women came. And I honestly going to tell you, I was going to do the book and go back to my job. I was like, great book, great time. But timing is everything, Dr. Rosalind, because I don't know what was happening in the atmosphere at that time, but the
Right.
women on social media began to see these group of 13 women. We were traveling to places talking about the coming of the book, and they saw the sisterhood. And that's what caught on. And so
Yes.
everybody started calling it a movement. And I was like, wait a minute, we're not doing a movement, we're just writing a book. But I began to realize that it was something more than a book that was put out into the atmosphere to combat the belief that, especially for women of color, that we can't get along, that we can't do things together. And so that's what we were saying. And so it caught on. Everybody talked about I'm a Black woman. And in the middle of that, I went to the publisher. I said, listen, I don't want to put out a book that talks about accusing men of the things that they've done and haven't done. We've got to give men an opportunity to be a part of this. And so I put together 8 men, 8 wonderful men, a glorious experience in my life. They were able to be candid, forthright, truthful. I got to tell you, Dr. Ross, 7 out of those 8 men, ranging in age from 30 to 78 years old, was my oldest author. When I got them on radio, got them on TV, 7 out of those 8 men started admitting that they had been molested. I was in total shock.
Wow.
And I
See,
said, you just never know. And
you
to hear
never
all these
know.
men start talking about how they had been molested by the babysitter, had been molested at the
Wow.
time. And I asked them, I said, guys, you didn't write about that in the story. I mean, why did you choose this time to come out? And they said, because you gave us a chance to do it. You gave us an opportunity and an environment to
That's
be
it.
free. And we decided to just pull the shackles off. I mean, I had men on a Facebook interview who were just admitting this to their wives and family. I just want
Wow.
to stop here and say that I have been molested and I'm in therapy now and so forth. So it was a glorious situation. And then we went on to the bestseller, which is I Am a Black Woman, the next level. And so that experience for me was profound. It was more than I ever hoped for.
Wow.
I had the greatest publisher in the world, and all of the people, the majority of us are all still friends. We are all
That's
still very
good.
connected. And so it was a great experience for me as an author, as a leader, to be able to bring all those people together and for us to share our pain and to become closer with each other.
Yes.
It was awesome experience.
You said something a while ago, and it's one of the creeds that I live by. When you give your yes to God, you don't know what's packaged in that yes. You don't know what doors are going to be open with that yes. Our yes to God brings so much. And all he needs us to do is agree with what he's already said. And so that's kind of my motto. You don't know what's packaged in your yes. All he needs is a yes, a
Exactly.
willing, and everything else manifests from your yes. He brings you to the place that he wants you to be at. and he opens up so many doors because you gave him a yes. So I love that. What
Obedience
motivates
is
you?
better than sacrifice.
Yes, it is.
Obedience is better than
That's
sacrifice.
right. It
Absolutely.
is. What motivates you?
Oh, what motivates me? Seeing people grow.
Mhm.
That motivates me. Seeing people grow. Um, Seeing us become a more unified people. I'm very passionate about that together. That is as a friend of mine always talks about where he is in his life now. He always uses the word, my next iteration, he says. And that's definitely my next iteration
Mhm.
is to do projects that bring us together, that we can come together as in the world. And so I was really honored to be able to openly discuss the social disparities of African American women.
Mhm.
My next level in life is to be one that gathers women from all various cultures, that
Oh
we
yeah.
can all come together. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's my next thing. That's what I'm really motivated now to touch the globe. I want to be
Yeah.
like you, Dr. Roslyn.
Glory to God. Yes, yes. I love it. I think that's what it's all about, honestly, is I call it gathering all my sisters,
Hmm.
and there's a gathering of us, for us all to come together on platforms like these, where we are in one country, and then we're here in another country, and there's so many countries represented on this line right now. I'm looking at some of the comments, and some of them are in other languages that we don't even speak, but they're looking in, they're chiming in, and they're supporting. um Great session, well done, you're able, excellency. I mean, there people are chiming in, and that's what I think is so amazing about God. He will put you in platforms. Like I said, there's that yes. I gave God a yes when I was asked to do this. I said yes, not even knowing all the doors that God was going to open through this university. And so, it's just a wonderful thing. And this is a beginning of, like you said, bringing all the women from all over the world together. When we do
Well,
our book collaborations, that's one
Dr.
of the things.
Roslyn, I have to say this. Definitely want to say this about you as a person. Uh, you are a demonstration to all women in terms of what he wants.
Thank you.
Now, you had not known this, but my passion for 2024 is to travel the world speaking. And I said, God, I don't know how you are going to do that, but I
Wow.
said yes to God because I have sisters in other countries that I want to touch, that I want to see them. Uh, I have brothers in other places that I
Yes.
want to talk to them. I want to sit down and have a conversation with them. And I feel that once I do that, that's going to bring me into a place of wholeness. This was just a secret prayer conversation that I had with God.
Mm.
And when you asked me to come on this platform, first of all, I got to be real honest. Sometimes as women, we don't allow ourselves to open doors for other women.
Come on.
And I mean, it's the truth. I know people that had the ability and the capability to open a door for Dr. Carolyn. It's what I
Come
do
on.
all day long. You
Exactly.
know, but when you gave me the invitation, it was part of the yes that I had already given to God. Because
Yeah.
right now, I'm speaking to people all over. Kind of a woman, for you saying yes to God, for you not being selfish and
Come on.
just taking the opportunity for Rosalind, but
Right.
you saw fit to say, I want to open. And I'm gonna be honest with you, in conversations, you have always told Dr. Carolyn, I've got to get you on a global platform. You got people that you need to meet. And I just
Yeah.
so love you for that. And I think it's important.
God.
The Bible tells us to give honor where honor is due.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
honor you for being that kind of a woman. And I don't know if many people know that you are like that, but you are indeed like that. You are a living demonstration of what God wants. And
Thank you.
so you didn't know I had said yes to international travel in 2024. That is going to be my number one thing that I'm doing, going global and,
Yes.
you know, talking about books and talking about the network and interviewing people and teaching people. And so thank you for obeying God, because I said yes
Yes.
to God. So thank you for that. And that is really how it should be. I mean, that's
Yes,
how
ma'am. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. You make it easy when it comes to working with you. You know, you're easy to love, and you the way that you are, it just makes it easy. You know what I'm saying? Um, so what is your message to young girls out there that's listening in?
to young girls,
Mhm.
I would like to tell you, you are so much more. Take the time, whether that's connecting with women like Dr. Roslyn and myself, take the time to get to know thyself. That's get to know yourself, because there's so much more of you than what social media has to say, what friends have to say. Really take the time to get to know who you are and whose you are, that you are God's divine creation. And at this time of your life, when you're young, you can just do so much with your life. You really can. And so that's my message to young girls, I would say now.
Now, what is your message to the entire world right now?
The message to the entire world right now. I want to use a little bit of a biblical passage of scripture found in the book of Acts in the second chapter. And it talks about when the apostles went up into the upper room and they were there. Now, we don't know every day, but we do know that they were there for 50 days because it was Pentecost. And so just as human beings, we can only imagine people, Dr. Rosalind, in one room for 49 days.
Mhm.
There's a lot going on, okay, because you know, who's going to bring the food, or I'm tired of somebody.
Mhm.
But so we know, just being a human, there was a lot going on. But this part of that story is what I have built my business on. It says that there was a day that they all got on one accord.
That part.
That part.
Mhm.
And when they got on one accord, suddenly there was a sound from heaven as a
Yes.
rushing mighty wind. And the Spirit of God filled every person that was in the room. Now, this is something that we overlook a little bit, Doctor, about that experience, because sometimes we just get caught after that. Those individuals went out into the street and they were able to minister to people of all cultures, all languages, all tongues.
Yes.
So what I would
Yes.
say, my message is to the world right now. One, we need each other.
That's
We
right.
need each other.
That's
We
right.
have, it is incumbent of us to come together through platforms like this, through international conferences, through writing books together, whatever that may look like. But we need each other as human beings. We need, as the Bible would say, translated in the Greek, we need more koinonia. We need more fellowship with each other so that all cultures, we can get to know each other. And
That's
the
right.
reason why we've got to come together, because God wants to do something supernatural in us. And the
Yes, he
only
does.
way that it is going to be done is when we get on one accord. The day that we get on one accord and put aside cultural differences,
Yes.
aside all the ideologies, oh, what I've heard about you people over there in America, what I've heard about you people over in India, what I've heard about, and when we put all of that aside, which is what I think, Dr. Rosalind, happened to those apostles when they were gathered in that room. They might have had 49 days of bickering and other things, but at some point they said to themselves, within themselves, you know what, everything that we're arguing about, everything that we're indifferent about, it doesn't matter.
It
We
doesn't
are
matter.
all here together to wait for the power of God to bestow us. So let us all get on one accord and have one mind. And when they did that, something powerful happened in the world at that time. My
Yes.
message is to the world, let's get on one accord. We don't have to agree on everything, but let's
Right.
find the things that we do agree on. We all agree on the fact that every human being has the right to live a life of quality. We do
Yes.
agree on that the fact that all people deserve to be well, to be honored, to be loved. If those are the things
Yes.
that we agree on, then let's all come together. Let's all be on one accord, and so that God can be glorified in every country in the whole entire world.
Yes.
And that's what my message would be to the world.
That is awesome. You know, I always think whenever we come together in love and oneness, it gives us contagious unity. Not just regular unity, but contagious unity. Because not one person that comes together is not, no, all of a sudden you want to unite with this person, you want to unite with this person. It's contagious. You know what I'm saying? When we all come on one accord, when we really embrace people for who they are, when we really embrace the differences in who we are, love has no color. And when we live our life that way, you know, we as human beings are better, because when we meet someone that don't look like we look, don't talk like we look, and we still give them the same love as we give the people that look like us, that's when unity, contagious unity and oneness comes. And that's when God can be glorified, because we're doing things out of love. We love and kindness have I drawn thee, not with beat people down with your words, but what are we doing to encourage each other, to lift each other up, to pull each other forward? When God opens the door for me, I'm like, y'all, come on, the door's open. Come on, as many as y'all can. Come on,
You
come
are
on.
that way.
You know,
You are that
that's
way.
important to me. Let's see, if my sister needs something, then I need something. I can't be okay walking with someone that is hurting and I'm good. I've never known how to be that person, and I thank God he didn't make me that way. If my sister's hurting, I'm hurting. If my sister's winning, I'm shouting hallelujah louder than anybody.
You are that way.
You
Yes.
know, and I thank God for that, because that's what he wants us to be for each other. I'm telling you, a few years ago, it was a platform similar to this. A young lady had asked me to come speak on the platform, and it was this was like right after COVID, and it was a global platform, and I was all excited about going to speak on the platform. And then she messaged me like the day before, and she said, "Oh, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to get somebody else." And I was like, "Huh?" And my spirit was just really vexed. I said, "Okay, well, thank you anyway." But I couldn't let that thing go. It just really, really bothered me. And so finally I went back to her. I said, "Why did you do that?" She said, "Well, the people really, really like me, and you have a very strong personality, and I don't want to interview them. Then they start wanting you to be over the show." And I was like, "What?" And I realized something that day. People see you in a way you don't even see yourself sometimes.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and I'm not trying to do anything but be who God has called me to be. I've never been that person. But in the world that we're in right now, people have no identity. They don't know who they are. Therefore, they jump from this to that, to this, to that, to this, trying to find themselves instead of embracing who God says they are and saying, Lord, show me who I am. He made you. He knows everything about you. Show me who I am, you know? So, but yeah, what is the next thing for Dr. Carolyn Stephens?
The next thing for Dr. Carolyn is that I am in the process of, so I work with a team of women that I put together. We are called the Mind Matters team. And so we are starting to travel to spread the message of mental health and wellness, and that you can be well, and that encouraging people to have conversations on a regular basis about the importance of maintaining mental health and wellness. And so part of my future endeavors is to work with the team and travel with the team. I'm also putting out a series of books that have a therapeutic edge to it, to some easy read kinds of things to help women to heal, to feel better about themselves, and most of all, for us to connect one or with another. And so I'll be working on those books and getting ready for traveling the globe in 2024. So those are the next things that I plan on working on.
How can anybody reach you?
Sure. You can find me on Facebook. I would welcome that. Under Carolyn Stephens. I also have another page called Dr. Carolyn Stephens, so you can reach out to me on that. My website is www.drcarolynstephens.com. So you can reach me via that website. And I'm super friendly. So, you know, if you reach out to me on Facebook, I promise you I will respond. And I want to get to know you. I want to get to know all of you. And so we can see what it is that we can do together, because together we are better. I can only be a better person when Dr. Rosalind succeeds. That's how I'm better. And she's better when I'm better. And so we all have to endeavor to help each other to be better people, and so that we can be a better world. It's not too late. I know there are many things that are toxic things that are going on in this world, but let us be the group of people that decides that we can be a better world. We can create a better world for people.
Most definitely, most definitely. Well, I want to thank Dr.
That's what
Pandit
we can do.
for
So
this.
that's Dr. Carolyn's future.
Yes, for this opportunity. I want to thank you, Dr. Carolyn, for being our guest.
Thank you so much.
It has been amazing. It's been fulfilling. We're gonna have to do another interview. Definitely. On Coach Roz TV.
Yes, we have to do it.
Yes, we gotta do it. But I thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, and thank y'all, everybody that's listened in. I mean, we had a lot of comments and everything coming in from Facebook, people that were on live. I want to acknowledge some of them. It's a lot. Just, I mean, hearts and loves, and like I said, some of them in different languages that I don't understand yet. But yes, beautiful, beautiful, great session. Well done. Your able excellencies, they say. Very nice topics. These are people from all over the world. India, some from Africa. Glory to God. Give wings to your dreams with IIU.
Beautiful.
Great session and great presentations. Thank you so much. So yes, I like to always acknowledge the people that are listening in. Thank y'all so much for your support, for not only listening in, but being able to leave, comments and things to that factor. We thank you. So we're going to end it, but I appreciate you so much. You have a wonderful, blessed rest of the day, and we will definitely be in touch.
Have a great day, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.